and welcome to Module 10 about South African tourism. On this training, we explore the fascinating world of tourism, the difference between domestic and international travel, the different trends in the tourism industry, but most importantly, how content creation can profoundly impact the South African tourism. Today, we are joined by Mhlakaza from Honest Travel Experiences, who will take us through today's session.
Hi guys, my name is Ty from Honest Travel Experience. Honest Travel Experience is a youth travel company, inbound and outbound, based in Johannesburg, where its headquarters are. We also operate in the three major cities being Cape Town, Durban, and Johannesburg. So today I'm going to be talking to you guys tourism, anything tourism, and obviously the few things that impact tourism and how tourism impacts us in the industry and also people outside of the industry and how they benefit from what we do as a collective in the industry. Tourism is a simple act of just visiting another place, that you don't necessarily reside in, whether it's for business, pleasure, or whatever the case may be. So, you could be in Johannesburg and simply taking a trip down to Cape Town. That forms a part of tourism as well. That is tourism in essence. The act of somebody from abroad visiting South Africa, Johannesburg, Cape Town, or whatever, that is tourism. So domestic tourism is basically just pretty much the first example I made of tourism, just, the act of leaving one city in the same country and going to another. Not necessarily cities though, it could be visiting one of the great parks or, in the Kruger, or taking a trip up to a hike in another city or town. That in essence is like the domestic travel, and international is more about, visiting different countries. And again, whether it's business or pleasure or whatever the case may be, just visiting another country or having other people from other countries coming into South Africa, that's what's known as international travel or tourism. Travel patterns when, visiting a different country altogether, especially outbound, because most people think, when they think tourism, they think foreigners or something, white people, or, that kind of image pops up in their head of all these white people coming in, riding around in a bus, taking pictures. But tourism is way more than that. It's also about South Africans actually leaving the country and going to other countries. With regards to passports and visas, obviously, South Africa is very accessible, especially to Europe and North America. Most countries there don't even need visas or anything when coming to South Africa. They can just take a plane and just sort out all that stuff when they arrive at the airport. Whereas, as South Africans, it's so complicated for us to visit some spaces in the world, but there's actually a list of amazing countries that as a South African you can be able to visit without a visa. There's some really, really beautiful spaces around the world, from Asia to, some parts of South America, there's quite a few places, and most people just think, whenever they need to travel, there's going to be all this documentation required from them. Whereas, there's like a top 50 list, I'm not sure what it's called, but literally, if you go on Google, there's a top 50 list of countries one can visit without a visa from South Africa. And the list is crazy, it's like really, really beautiful spaces. The economic impact is quite different as well, because in South Africa, for example, the rand is not doing so great right now. So essentially, when you have domestic travel, that means a little less money is spent than what you would have if it was somebody visiting from an entirely different country, from Europe or North America. So it's much like, when you visit another country, there's so much you're uncertain of. So there's so much that you have to take into account and prepare for in advance and pay for to make sure that you have the best experience. Whereas when you're in your own country, even if you don't know Cape Town or very familiar with Cape Town, you already have a few of the need to knows that you must have when visiting another space. So, I'd say, the preparation itself and the people involved in the planning of a trip for somebody coming from abroad, that alone allows for the economic impact to be greater. Because now this person has to hire a travel agent. They have to hire somebody to book their hotel, chauffeur services, a tour guide when they visit a city and all of that, recommendations on where to eat. And, mostly like it's not even cooking, people want to be able to eat out. So there's like all of these different, establishments that benefit off just one person deciding to visit South Africa, whereas if you have a local deciding to visit another city, it's a little different because, there's a lot of things that you can be able to plan and do for yourself. So that sort of cuts out a huge part of the value chain of tourism. The tourism sector is very important, all over the world. Just in 2019, before COVID, in South Africa, tourism contributed over 1.5 million jobs in South Africa, accounting for 8.6% of the employment in our country. And a lot of people, obviously take this for granted, but it's not just the employment, but the small businesses as well that get to benefit from the main excursions that take place on a day-to-day. The lady selling small arts and crafts by the corner outside the museum, when guests get to visit some of the beautiful and heritage spaces in our country, so the impact is definitely quite a lot. We can go on and on and on and on talking stats, but really, for me, especially as an agent and somebody on the ground working in tourism, I can tell you this. When somebody is coming into South Africa, the kind of people that have to be prepped and ready to be able to host that person, the kind of monies that are spread out from, the smallest stakeholders to, the biggest shareholders, from the hotels they're going to stay in, their drivers, their guides, the restaurant that has to feed them, and the number of people that all of these little establishments employ, whether officially or unofficially, because, most of the stats we're going to get is from, properly registered businesses, but that's not all the people that actually contribute or benefit from tourism in South Africa. You also have like the informal business sector that also gains quite a lot from tourism. Yeah, South Africa is like 8 UNESCO World Heritage Sites, including Cradle of Humankind, the Cape Floral region, Robben Island, just to name a few. South Africa is quite a popular tourist destination. We have some of the best game drives, with Kruger National Park being one of the biggest safaris in the entire world. We have like very rich history and culture, guys like Nelson Mandela through their struggles, and obviously some heritage sites that explain to you in detail the kinds of things that, obviously those guys contributed to South Africa back then, and, their continued contribution even after their passing through, the stories that we still share about what they did for our country. So, it's quite a rich country to visit in terms of culture, diversity, and just interesting things. We're popular for even things like bungee jumping and, cave diving and, yeah, man, it's just South Africa really is a place to be. You gotta visit South Africa. Speaking of, the significance of tourism in South Africa, a lot of my colleagues will actually know who I'm talking about, even though I won't mention the name, but I know a woman that started a farm in the east side of the inner city of Johannesburg, and her goal was basically just to feed the kids under her care. And, during the time she ran this farm, there was many challenges she was facing, but a big part of her support and what allowed her to actually grow the farm to be able to feed all the children under her care during that time was actually the tourism sector. Just all the guys that basically wanted to be, innovative and, show a different side of Johannesburg. It meant for them to be able to obviously just showcase this little farm that's been put right in the middle of CBD, which nobody would ever imagine existed in the first place. So it's actually quite a catch for tour guides to be able to showcase such stories as well in the inner city of Joburg. So that grows the kind of offering that the tour guides have in the inner city, besides the normal inner city walks or the heritage sites, just showing the realness of everyday lives of South Africans within Joburg spaces. So just that woman's farm allowed tour guides to have more to add on their tours, and for those tourists visiting Johannesburg to actually get to interact and experience a much more real side and authentic side of the inner city of Joburg, and also leaving a contribution at the farm, whether it's through buying some veggies or donating some cash or buying a freshly squeezed juice or mango acha, whatever the case may be. But all what little that they could add to the farm, and now you bring in all the tour guides that are actually doing tours within the space. I mean, that in itself creates such a beautiful economic cycle, because everybody's getting value, everybody's working together, and people leave with memories that allow for other people to want to visit our spaces as well. So even when you speak of job creation, just the small impact of what I've just explained that would happen in a small farm like that, the growth of it means that all of a sudden this woman that runs this farm now suddenly has to employ somebody to help her, or somebody to help her produce more of the juices that she makes, or the chakalaka that she's making with the fresh veggies, and somebody to maintain the farm as well. So and I mentioned this from an agricultural point of view because really, that's one of the things that make us great as a country. That's what supports us really. When you look at the essence of it all, our agriculture is the most important thing. For us to be able to benefit from tourism and being able to grow our farms and our food supply, that's, it's like one of the most important things. When we speak of job creation, and, most people will focus on, the normal, hotel, travel agents, DMCs, and the restaurants, the guys that benefit directly from tourism. But there's actually so many other industries that benefit from a travel company looking to promote a specific tour that they do. The kind of resources that they have to bring in to be able to make that a reality. Now we're talking the advertising agencies and the cameraman they have to hire to be able to shoot that content. The kinds of venues that have to be booked out because of that shoot that has to happen, and all the actors that have to be involved in such advertising. So one might think it's just hotel, transport, and just the main stuff that you see right in front of you, but there's actually so many other industries that benefit from the tourism sector. South Africa is definitely a must visit. Our rich history and culture, it's definitely something to learn about. One of the reasons it actually empowers South Africans is because, a huge part of the diversity that we find ourselves, living in today is because of obviously the many people that came in from different parts of the world, especially coming into Joburg during the times of the gold mining. And, in one way or another, I'd say, we sort of had to learn to sort of accept the diversity and embrace it, despite all the challenges that we've had in the past. So, already that puts us at an advantage point when dealing with tourism and international visitors coming into South Africa these days for leisure or for business, because we already know how to interact with, different people from different parts of the world. So essentially, it all kind of works together, it's synchronized in some kind of way. Tourism is really something to not be taken for granted because, of obviously one, the kind of economic impact that it has in our country. And, so it's very important, for us to be able to take care of our visitors at all times, because essentially those are the people that go back to their respective countries and talk about the kinds of experiences that they had in South Africa. And right now, especially like in the social media world, we have a lot of false rumors and news spreading out to lots of places about how dangerous South Africa is or how bad things are. And sometimes even just people's lack of knowing and thinking that, South Africa is just like a big bush or jungle, so it's very important that, we take good care of the people that we actually do have, and, making sure that they have Instagrammable moments, some nice pictures and videos, and, those fond memories of the people that they interacted with, so that they can be able to obviously just spread the word and let people know, because the more people we have visiting our country, the more we grow, and the more, a lot of other businesses grow as well. I mean, South Africa is a beautiful country, and our great nation offers a plethora of attractions and educationals about not just South African culture or African culture, but even like human beings, human origins as well. Some of the oldest bones of human beings were found in South Africa at the cradle of humankind. You have, our great wildlife, from Johannesburg to the Kruger National Park, which is some of the biggest parks that we have in the entire world. Beautiful landscapes, heading up all the way into Mpumalanga. So, your safari experience is not just you looking at animals, but even the scene, like it's really beautiful. The mountains and the waterfalls. We speak of adventure as well. The hikes that you can do, at the Tugela Falls down in the Drakensberg or Cathedral's Peak. Not to mention the food. With all the different nations that we have in South Africa, you can imagine all the kinds of culinary treats that we're exposed to, so it's really just a mixture of everything. And like South Africa really is just like a melting pot of diversity. You think like history, cultural sites, from the prison where Nelson Mandela was incarcerated, the Robben Island, we have 9 native languages in South Africa, so all those different tribes have different unique things to offer. When you visit South Africa, you get to visit not only the origins of human beings, but you also get to visit the Lesedi Cultural Village, where you get to learn about the different cultures and tribes that we have in South Africa. So it's definitely must visit. Content creation is actually a very important part of South African tourism, because, as I mentioned before, our country is misrepresented in the rest of the world. As much as we have all the beauty and the history and all there is to learn and know and discover in South Africa, there's also, the false news and advertising that's going on, and pretty much people that have never taken time to educate themselves about South Africa or anything Africa. That just think it's one country and it's all a big bush and wildlife, So when you think of content creation, you think of the kind of pictures, the videos, and just that live storytelling that happens when somebody's engaging with their fans. Say you have an influencer from, the United States or Europe or whatever, like them. Being able to showcase whatever it is that they're experiencing in real time and showing all their followers from back home. That's the kind of media that we need right now to be able to promote South Africa and SA tourism properly, because we're very, very misrepresented in the rest of the world.
Content creation can play a significant role in promoting and boosting the South African tourism industry. Here are some of the ways in which content creation can help. Engaging storytelling. Compelling and authentic storytelling through various forms of content, such as articles, blog posts, videos, and social media posts, can create an emotional connection with potential travelers. Highlighting unique experiences, cultural diversity, natural beauty, and wildlife can inspire and attract visitors to explore South Africa. Showcasing attractions. Content creation provides an excellent platform to showcase South Africa's diverse attractions, including national parks, game reserves, historical sites, vibrant cities, stunning coastlines, and more. Through high-quality visuals, engaging descriptions, and immersive experiences, content creators can capture the attention and interest of potential tourists. Educational and informative content. Creating informative content about South Africa's history, culture, tradition, wildlife, and conservation efforts can educate and raise awareness amongst travelers. By highlighting the country's rich heritage and initiatives promoting sustainable tourism, content creators can encourage responsible travel and foster a deeper understanding of South Africa's unique characteristics. Collaborations with influencers. Partnering with travel influencers, bloggers, vloggers, and photographers who have a significant following can help generate exposure for South Africa's tourism industry. These influencers can create captivating content, share their experiences, and inspire the audience to visit South Africa, showcasing the country's attractions to a wide and diverse audience. User-generated content. Encouraging tourists to create and share their own content through hashtags, social media contents, or dedicated platforms can amplify the reach and authenticity of South Africa's tourism promotion efforts. User-generated content often resonates well with potential travelers as it provides real-life experiences and testimonials. SEO optimization. Creating well-optimized content, including relevant keywords, meta tags, and descriptions, can improve the search engine's visibility of South Africa's tourism-related websites and platforms. This can help potential visitors to find information about South Africa more easily, leading to increased organic traffic and exposure. Collaborative content campaigns. Collaborating with local businesses, travel agencies, airlines, and hospitality providers can result in content campaigns that showcase comprehensive itineraries, travel packages, accommodation options, and unique experiences. By cross-promoting content, these collaborations can create a collective market effort that highlights South Africa as a desirable and diverse travel destination. Remember, the key to successful content creation is to be authentic, visually appealing, and informative. By utilizing various content formats and channels, South Africa's tourism industry can effectively reach and engage potential travelers, ultimately driving tourism growth in the country.
You know, with regards to what small businesses need in the industry, you need to be able to showcase what you sell, and two, you need to be able to kind of present the people behind the brand and whatever it is that you're selling. And most companies don't actually know how to communicate this, which is why content creation is very important, because just by following somebody around for a couple of days with a camera, you are able to expose or kind of showcase the kind of person that they are, which essentially is what it's all about, because nobody buys from somebody they don't like or trust. And if you have like that content creation happening and somebody following you around with a camera, then people sort of like get to know the real you. Not necessarily the real you, but they get to learn about you when you're not working or when you're not standing there doing a tour. They get to engage with you a little bit more and understand a little bit about who you are. And, that's just some of the powerful features of content creation. And, back then, they didn't have the kind of media access that we do, so the guys, they dialed on the phone, I don't know how they marketed actually back then, but whatever they did, it's not nearly as powerful as what we have today, which is like access to the international audience that we do. And the only thing you have to do is just don't be afraid to stand in front of the camera and create the content, because this can help you reach more people.
Examples of content assets for tourism SMMEs. Portfolio websites. Create a professional website showcasing your work, highlighting your expertise, and providing contact information for potential clients. Display a diverse range of high-quality visuals and videos to demonstrate your skills and the types of projects that you have worked on. Destination highlight videos. Produce captivating destination highlight videos that showcase the beauty, culture, and experiences of specific locations. These videos should evoke emotion, transport viewers to the destination, and entice them to explore further. Virtual tours. Create immersive virtual tours using 360-degree videos or interactive photography. This allows potential travelers to virtually explore destinations, accommodations, or attractions by providing them with a realistic and engaging preview of what they can experience. Travel photography. Capture compelling travel photographs that showcase the beauty, culture, and unique aspects of destinations. These images can be used in various marketing materials, such as websites, brochures, social media posts, or print advertisements, to attract and inspire potential travelers. Illustrations and infographics. Develop custom illustrations and infographics that visually communicate information about destinations, travel tips, or attractions. These visuals can be used in travel guides, blog posts, social media content, or print materials to enhance engagement and understanding.
So, these days we've seen quite a sharp turn in the tourism industry, especially post-COVID, because now there's quite a few factors that impact tourism. So for example, a lot of people are actually conscious about how they spend their money and where their contribution goes in the world. So for example, people are thinking sustainability, visiting South Africa, spending my money in that space. How does that ensure or empower sustainability? Are they spending money on companies that promote sustainability? Is the company they're interacting with promoting a green lifestyle, saving energy, and so forth? So there's the conscious spending as well. People want to know that they're contributing directly to a small enterprise or a small informal business or whatever, that when they leave, then at least they know the kind of impact that they've had directly. That's just a few things. I mean, you think sustainability, social, and also right now one of the biggest trends is nomad and remote work travel. So people are no longer looking at countries as holiday destinations or something like that. People are actually thinking about, if I were to live in this country, would this country be able to cater for all the boxes that I need to tick? Is there sustainability? Is there social consciousness? And their presence in the space, does it add value? How does it add value? Can they stay in this country? And so on. So it's like, when you talk tourism, just when you think the subjects are actually shrinking, and then one thing just just pushes it all the way up again, because now there's like so much to consider at every turn, and and we're dealing with people for the most part, and people deciding to change their entire lives and come visit a space like South Africa, or come stay, whether volunteering or just working, or maybe just a stopover in South Africa for a while, to just experience Africa and all of that. So yeah.
Tourism trends are influenced by a variety of factors that shape travel behaviors and preferences amongst travelers. These influences often interact and evolve over time, shaping the ever-changing landscape of tourism trends. As the world continues to evolve, new factors may emerge, driving novel trends and experiences in the travel industry. Sustainable travel. Travelers continue to prioritize eco-conscious choices, seeking destinations and experiences that promote sustainability, conservation, and responsible tourism practices. Wellness and well-being tourism. The focus on mental and physical health remains strong, leading to a rise in wellness-focused travel, including spa treatments, mindful retreats, and outdoor activities for rejuvenation. Hyper-personalization. AI and data analytics will enable more personalized travel experiences, tailoring recommendations and itineraries based on individual preferences and behavior. Travel safety and health measures. Health and safety considerations will remain a priority, with travelers seeking destinations and accommodations that implement strict hygiene protocols. Culinary experiences will continue to drive travel decisions, with foodies seeking authentic and immersive culinary experiences. Conscious travel and social impact. Travelers will seek meaningful and purpose-driven experiences, supporting local communities and contributing to social causes during their trips.
Beyond that, which I've mentioned earlier on, which is the major attractions of South Africa, our history, our heritage, and the way we live, there's also other reasons to visit South Africa, and most of it is actually not focusing on what happened before and focusing on where we're going as a people, which goes back to the innovation and, you know, all the little things that contribute to one's choice to visit our country. You know, there's so much talent in South Africa. For example, we have big events, you know, from the jazz festivals to the national art festivals. And, you know, people talk about the kinds of things that they're going to be able to see and stuff, but the things that actually influence people to come to South Africa, and one of the greatest, which is something I'm proud of, is actually the music, amapiano, which is basically taken over the entire world by storm. So a lot of people these days are actually visiting South Africa and want to be able to attend an event or a festival where they can attend a live concert and just dance to amapiano. So, you know, there's definitely like a whole new movement and lots of other reasons to visit South Africa. And, you know, music, entertainment, you know, these festivals like Smoking Dragon up in Drakensberg, you know, being able to climb the Tugela Falls, Cathedral Peak, and still attend a 3-day festival out in the mountains, you know. So yeah, man, it's definitely there's definitely so many reasons to visit our country. You know, it's crazy because I just quit my job and decided to take a year off and not do anything. And my business partner, Frank, he had just quit his job as well, working for the company that he started with in tourism. And, you know, with some of the previous business endeavors we've had together, he actually reached out to me and said, listen, I'm going out on my own. I think this is how far we can take this thing. And, you know, just comparing notes and, you know, just exploring the idea, we actually realized we had more in common in the way that we saw the future than we actually thought we did. So we just got together, we started the company, and, you know, we've always shared the same goal and values, and, you know, the same ideas to be able to grow this company and, you know, create the kind of impact that we want in Africa and not just South Africa, which is why, you know, our biggest focus is to be able to expand to the rest of Africa, because, you know, we're not here only trying to tell South African stories, but African stories altogether. So from the time we started, we only had, you know, the idea was always, okay, cool, now we want to do this, we've decided, but how do we get in? And we mostly focused on what wasn't there in the market. And one might say, really, there was something that didn't exist the time you joined? Actually, there was, you know. So we explored a few gaps with regards to, you know, the diversity that we live in, which is something that we had to consider above all. So, you know, we were able to come up with, you know, food tasting experiences representing different countries that exist in South Africa, you know. So one of our very first products was the Taste of Africa food tour, which is basically a restaurant hopping experience where you get to visit numerous different countries, trying out their different food in those restaurants. And then again, another product that we realized wasn't untapped was most people actually have excursions during the day, but then after 5, there's nothing for them to do except go have dinner at the hotel and sleep. So we created the nightlife experience where we actually take people around in a shuttle to be able to try out the different party scenes in Johannesburg and Cape Town as well, which we've now expanded to, you know. So Taste of Africa, Johannesburg nightlife experience, those are one of our first products that we started with, and we grew basically from that. And now we offer as far as, you know, road trips to multi-day itineraries between, you know, South Africa, Joburg, Cape Town, Durban, you know. We're offering nightlife experience all over the world now. You know, we've got partners in a few countries that we've already established ourselves in, and the idea is to just spread it out. So whenever you're traveling as a person, then you know, okay, cool, I'm in this city, let me call Honest Travel because I need somebody to show me around and show me a good time. You know, so yeah. So, you know, I mean, we've been able to to innovate quite a lot and work a lot with technology and being able to evolve as a company and introduce new products, especially during the COVID era. You know, you really had to think on your feet because nobody was coming to save you. So, you know, we got creative. We launched a few experiences, you know, so we started organizing hikes. And, you know, at the end of that hike, we'd actually get into like a silent disco. So we had like a DJ on top of a hill on a mountain, like completely remote. And, you know, we had like, you know, so you get like a bunch of headsets and everybody's there, but it's a party, but like it's completely silent and everybody's listening to like different channels and different music, you know. So that's one of the ways that we actually use technology to be able to help us innovate and evolve. You know, we also introduced the electric scooters that we use on our tours. So, you know, from bicycle tours, we realized that, you know, some of the routes, you know, the weight of the clients, sometimes they couldn't cycle up to be able to follow the route exactly. And so we introduced like the electric scooters where one just stands and you just boop, and you just work your way up. So, you know, I mean, we've definitely played around with technology and, you know, done our best to introduce new products. I mean, we introduced the virtual 360 tours during COVID, you know, and while most people were doing Zoom tours, you know, with their clients, so we actually introduced virtual 360 tours in a few spaces, but also, I mean, careful not to dilute any of the products that make South Africa a great space to visit. So it was sort of like a highlight, and you know, just trying to entice people and showing them what it actually looks like, and then, you know, trying to entice them to be able to visit South Africa soon, you know. So, you know, lately we've also seen an increase in numbers of young black people within the tourism space, also, you know, coming in with new ideas and innovation. So, you know, as much as Honest Travel Experience thrives and, you know, is always working to come up with the next great idea, we always very proud to share like some of the great ideas that you know, some of our partners in the industry and colleagues are getting up to. For example, there's one guy in the Maboneng area that does, you know, skateboard tours. So, you know, we've tried to move away from the everyday walking or bicycle, you know. So Honest Travel introduced the e-scooter tours, but Myandu was able to introduce the skateboard tours through the inner city, you know. You visit Soweto, there's also the tuk-tuk tours that the guys are doing, and, you know, which we've also introduced in the inner city. So there's definitely quite a lot of innovation and a lot of young black people coming into the tourism industry and bringing in some new ideas and innovation. The amount of growth and, you know, that we're seeing currently with regards to, you know, technology, innovation, you know, sustainability, some of the topics that we covered, you know, and just social awareness and that type of thing. I think there's definitely a lot of growth because South Africa is becoming more and more flexible and accommodating to people of all types of groups from all walks of life from all around the world. So I think that in itself makes South Africa a much better place to not only visit, but to actually live in. So with that in place and, you know, the continued growth of social media, you know, and influences and so on, I think there's definitely a lot of growth to be expected, a lot of evolution in the tourism industry as well. So, you know, I see quite a lot of, you know, technology being put in place to be able to grow the industry as well over the next 5 years. I see, you know, South Africa being, you know, a very accommodating space for anyone and everyone, especially because of, you know, the remote work and nomading. You know, people are already structuring their businesses and enterprises to be able to cater and to add features that'll allow somebody to be able to work from anywhere at any time. So just those features alone will definitely grow the South African tourism industry. And hopefully even on our side we can be able to integrate technology and remote work to be able to encourage some of our own youth in our country to be able to visit other spaces and go learn something new, go live in another country for a while and bring some of that innovation and information and technology, and let's figure out how we can incorporate it into South Africa and just put it together without obviously forgetting our cultures and our traditions, and just find a way to make it work in a way that also represents South Africa.
And that concludes our enriching training on South African tourism with YCC. Now remember, every piece of content that we create has the potential to leave a lasting impact on South African tourism, promoting its landscape, culture, and its people to the world. Let's continue telling our unique stories and inspiring travelers from all over the globe to explore our beautiful nation. YCC, creative potential, real opportunity.